Hi, it is Rebecca Ryan King, speech pathologist. And if you've ever seen me hold up one of these little animals and you want to see all of the animal sounds or have some tips on how to use them in therapy, I'm going to show all of them to you. Now, a couple of things just to know. I use these a lot with my preschool age students for a couple of reasons. Number one, a lot of my preschoolers have a strong knowledge of animals. So I'm trying to use something that they're really, really good at and something that they know to help remind them and teach them the sound that they need to use. Secondly, because I love forward thinking and I love thinking about sound awareness or phonological awareness, you're going to find that a lot of our cues are alliterative. So they feature that sound that we are targeting multiple times. So for this one, babbling bird, there's quite a few b sounds in there. So when we say to the child, remember your babbling bird sound b, they have heard that b sound quite a few times, and that was very intentional. So let's go through all the cues, and I'm going to give you some tips and some gestures or teaching moments so that you can use these with your students. So first, we do have our babbling bird sound. I love to get my fingers like this and pretend that it's a beak, and I like to go b b b b b b b b b. And it really helps to use this little gesture to really mimic what the lips are doing for this sound. Our next sound is our popping penguin sound. Now we like the p, the pop, because our children have to pop their lips and push out that sound. So that's where this little popping penguin works really well. Our next sound is our munching monkey sound. I like to get my lips together for this and pretend that we're munching first. And then make the sound like that. And then I found that that's quite easy to transition just to So it's our munching monkey sound. Next, we have our digging dog, and I like to get my fingers like this, and this is going to mimic the tongue being at the front, and I like to go d, d, digging dog, like that. Sometimes you'll find that kids say a g sound where the tongue is at the back, so that's where your little hands here, your fingers, doing that gesture can really help. And one thing I will say, if you start to incorporate hand movements or gestures, you will often see that your children are going to copy you, and this is fantastic because they are using that to help remind them what sound they need to say. Our next one is our neighing horse sound. And so this is a little nose sound here, and we might go like that. And again, we are having fun with these animals. So if you do do a bit of body movement or a bit of gestures, just at the beginning, like I just did then, I just said, and I, moved my head. You do want to make sure that as quickly as possible, you transition to a bit more of a stable head, like that, so that the child doesn't think they have to go like that, pretend to be a horse every time they're saying that sound. Next, we have our hooting owl, and he goes, whoo. So you might draw out that sound, whoo, like that, and that can help. Our tiptoeing tiger, I love using my fingers for this. You can tiptoe with your fingers up the stick, and this is why I love sticking our cues. You can see here, I've just got tape and I've just affixed this to a tongue depressor or a craft stick. It is fantastic because my hands are free to point out and I'm not covering the cue up. So that's my little hot tip. But for the tiptoe tiger sound, I like to tiptoe my fingers up the stick. And that mimics that little tapping sound that our tongue needs to do on the top of the mouth. Next, we have our coughing cat. Now, if your child can't say and it's too hard, sometimes I start with a bit of a coughing sound, or what I like to call a cat coughing up a fur ball, that sound, just to encourage the back of the tongue to lift, and then I might shape it into that softer sound. We have our grouchy gorilla for g, and usually I like to get my fist and I might pound my chest a bit, g, 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 to really get that voiced sound and the sound at the back here. So that's a really fun gesture to use. We have our round whale sound, and for this one, the reason why we called it the round whale sound is because we want our round lips. Ooh, wee. Here is our oinking pig. Now, you're not going to usually find in English that NG sound at the start of words. It's usually in the middle or at the end. So if you think of a word like song, But we liked it because if you say oink, can you hear that? We actually make a little sound in there. And it's a nasal sound. So that's why we called it a little oinking sound. Oink. It can really help when kids know some of that placement, and it's a great little sound to use. Now here is one of our metaphor cues. So you're going to see that yes, we are cueing the F sound, but it is not alliterative. So you don't hear F a lot in this cue, but this is probably my favorite cue that we have. It's our bunny teeth sound for F. A lot of kids will say B or P, and they use their lips. So when I say, oh, show me those bunny teeth, and I point to my teeth or I point to the teeth, it helps with the placement of their teeth on their lips. It helps cue the articulators. This is why I love these cues. They're so smart and they can really help the kids know where they need to put different parts of their mouths. Another fun metaphor we have is our lifting elephant sound for all. And we like to talk about just like the elephant lifts up his trunk, this is what you have to do with your tongue. So again, point to that trunk or lift up your hand to help that child cue and know what to do with their tongue. This is an updated cue. We've got our yapping yak sound. So it's alliterative again. You can hear that y sound for him. With our jumping sound, we've got our jumping giraffe sound. And I like to move this j, j, or jumping forward j, j, because you need to build up quite a bit of force for this sound. So this is why, again, I like the hands-free or this handheld stick, just to really help me emphasize the movement and emphasize what the child needs to learn to make that sound. The next one is our chattering cheetah sound. That's for ch. So sometimes, again, we might move it forward because he likes to chatter and make that sound. So that's a really fun one to move as well. Here is our hissing snake sound. Now, sometimes I love to model this really quietly because some of my students will say it quite loud and forcefully and the air comes out really thick. So if the child is doing that, I might say, it's got to be really quiet, like a hiss sound. And I love this tongue here because you can use your finger to model that long sound like that. So that's why he's the hissing sound. Now for V, we decided to go with shark teeth. I know there are other animals out there like a vulture, but we felt like because we use bunny teeth for F, showing us your shark teeth and making a noisy sound just paired really, really well with the shark. So this is like this. And again, I emphasize quite a bit of movement with my head because I was acting out the shark. You might need to do that at the start, but then once your child knows that placement, you want that stable head and you can just go, I saw your shark teeth. We have our noisy zebra. He does the z sound. And then for sh, we have our quiet shushing sheep. So quiet was intentional because sometimes you might call this the quiet sound, or I like the idea of shushing because sometimes I'll say to my students, do you have a noisy little brother or sister, and do you tell them shh? And that, shh, see that? It helps get that lip placement. So that's another little tip for that sound. Second last cue, we have our growly lion for What I love about this is when we say growly, it can help bunch up the tongue, but I also, you can see I've already done it. I've used this gesture and I might say we're going to like growl and we're going to use our hands like a claw, but this is great for the tongue. It's a sound. And if the child's like, oh, I'm like, oh, that didn't sound growly, like get your tongue up or get your horn ready. I want to hear it so it's scary. Like that. And again, that might be the starting place, but then you can give additional cues and you can shape it and turn it into a clearer sound. Now, our last one here is our tongue poking out rhino sound. There were not many animals that started with TH. So what I liked about this and why we went with him is because you can see his little horn here. That's what the tongue has to do for TH. Or so he is a nice little cue to use for that. So I hope you found all those cues and the demo really helpful. I prefer to put all these cues in a pen holder, and this sits on my therapy table. It is so easy for me as a speech therapist to be doing work with the student, and if I think, we need that sound, I can have a look and go, you know what, and I'm going to pull it out, and it's on my table and it's very easily accessible. So I hope that this video helped. Make sure you look at our link below because you can see where you can purchase these in our shop.